My opening on the side of my patio is only 9 feet wide, and my panels for the shades are 10 by 13. So in order to compensate for that shorter width, I folded the top of my panels twice, making sure that that ring still stays on the end, and after which I just went on ahead and sewed that up so that I would still be able to utilize that hook to hang up my curtains or shades. Okay guys, so I've done my stitching as I was showing you before. Put my C-clamp on first, the bottom, because it's easier, especially if you're doing this by yourself. I'm gonna slip that through, and then I'm gonna go ahead and attach it with my drill, because it makes life easier. And here you see it. You guys, I am putting this, even though I said this is a lot of fabric to work with, it wasn't that hard to put it up. I just guesstimated where I wanted it, and really honestly I used my 2 fingers to go down from this strip of wood that I had to measure about where I wanted my C-clamps, to be honest, and it worked for me. This long stretch of fabric here is the longest or the widest part of my patio, so it's like roughly, it's exactly 13 feet 0.86 inches. So I had to put extra rings on the top to hang it so that it would not flip over. To further describe what I meant by leaving the excess fold of fabric at the ends at first, once I put the shade up, I saw how it laid and it was at a diagonal, if you can see that there. I did not like that. Wasn't as bothersome on the interior as it was on the outside. So that's when I decided I would cut away the excess fabric. If you see further to the left of my hand is the area where I cut off the excess fabric, and then I'm showing you the binding edge that came off with that fabric that I cut. I cut that off of the excess fabric, and now I'm going to use it as a finished edge by first folding in the part that I cut, tacking that down, and then gluing on one end that finished binding edge, and then sewing the other side so that it gives me some staying power. I can use these for a couple of years without them falling apart. Here I'm at the left end of the same panel that I was just speaking of in the previous clip. I'm reattaching the binding that I cut off of the excess fabric. I'm going to use a glue gun on the right side of the binding, leaving the left side open so that I can sew it on, just so we can enjoy these curtains for quite some time. In cutting away the excess fabric, I then had to reattach the rings back on the bottom of the shades. I did this to get it positioned using a little bit of the glue gun, and then I sewed it back in place. And as you can see, I'm also using the binding to just finish it off as well. I had to come up with a solution to affix the other end of the curtains, or on the bottom that is. And so I went back to just using the C-clamp. I wrapped it in a gray cloth so to minimize noise, and then I used the fasteners that you sometimes see on the seat belts for kids in their car seats and on backpacks. I had a small one from a previous project, so I just again used the O-ring, slipped it on the C-clamp, attached the fastener on one end to the C-clamp and the other end to the loop on the bottom of the shade, and that way I can detach it at will easily and quickly if need to, if we have a storm or whatnot. And I have to add that we have had our curtains up now for almost a month, and it works flawlessly. And there you have it, you guys. We decided to add the fairy lights for just a little added ambiance at night. All in all, it took me about 3 days to do. Keeping in mind, it took me a minute because it was very hot. I suspect that if it wasn't as hot as it was, I probably would have taken more like a day and a half to get these up. Overall, I am pleased with the sun cell shades. It does block out a considerable amount of heat, to be honest, but let's just be honest, when it's hot, it's just hot and nobody wants to be outside. So overall, I'm pleased with the product. I wish that it was more like the material of the outdoor umbrellas, but to be honest, who's touching them? Who cares? Just as long as it performs the deed you need it to do. But all in all, I know my video was a little bit longer than what I usually have. I hope that you guys stuck it out with me, and I appreciate your time as usual. And as usual, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a made-up mind to stay blessed. Bye-bye.